Before we get started today, I just wanted to quickly announce that after months and months, probably over a year now, of you guys begging me to get one, I finally got a P.O. box. I'll leave the address right up here. Send me some cool stuff. I'm gonna do a mail vlog over on my second channel. I'll shout a bunch of you out. Unless you try to send me a package of cream cheese, in which case I will probably never want to do another mail vlog again. But what is going on, my peeps? Welcome back to this week's brand new Buzzfeed test. We've been on a little bit of a dessert and sweets binge recently. I was gonna try to get away from that and do something more savory or an actual meal this week. You guys were having none of that. Last week you went absolutely insane in the comments asking me to do the fried ice cream. Some of you even asked me to do 3 different types of fried ice cream that they did in this tasty video. And as tempted as I was to just do the 3rd recipe that they ended up doing because the other 2 didn't come out the best, I'm not gonna go cheap this week. I'm gonna do all 3. I'll give it my honest review. So let's get started with number 1. Now to start, I'm just going to get the first 2 obvious ingredients out of the way. I'm going to use the same vanilla ice cream and the same oil to fry with for every single recipe, just to limit the different variables. But up first, we are going to be trying to make some fried ice cream with some puff pastry dough. The first thing I did was grabbed a sheet out of the box, and I had to let this defrost because it was frozen solid. While that was coming down to room temperature, I quickly popped open my tub of the vanilla ice cream and got a few scoops. I tried to round them off a little bit. They're not perfect, but they really won't matter. And I just threw those back in the freezer so it'll be completely solid. Once the dough completely defrosted and was pliable, I cut it into 3 different strips and tried to roll them out super thin because in the video they said that their thick dough just took way long to cook, and as a result the ice cream melted, as you can see here. We're gonna attempt to avoid that at all costs today. I tried to roll out the dough as thinly as I could. I slapped down the first ball of my ice cream, folded up the rest of the dough over top, and then began to crimp the edges around the ice cream to seal it off. Now I'm also gonna prepare the base for each one of these 3 recipes and then let them all freeze overnight just so they're completely frozen solid. They have the same amount of time in the freezer. Everything else is gonna be the same. So the next day I began to heat up some of my oil in a medium-sized pot over medium to high heat, I'd say, and I let this get up to about 375 degrees, which is a little bit on the high end, but again, I want to kind of flash fry this so I don't have to leave it in the hot oil for too long. Into the pot, our first 2 ice cream dumplings went. They were looking okay. They definitely weren't browning as quickly as I would hope, and as a result I had to leave them in the oil for too long. The ice cream melted out and all hell ensued. Okay. The second one didn't open in the oil, but I had a feeling the ice cream would be melted on the inside, and it was. So it's not even really worth giving this a try because it defeats the purpose. So I guess we're gonna move on to recipe number 2. The second of 3 recipes for fried ice cream is going to involve some Panko breadcrumbs, some vanilla extract, and an egg. So begin your prep by first pouring out some of those Panko breadcrumbs in one bowl, and then in a separate one you want to crack an egg. I threw in some whole milk, I'm not sure if they did, but then I also added some vanilla extract, and I went a little bit heavy with this just because I don't want to lose the flavor of it when you put it in the fryer. And for this recipe we're going to give the ice cream balls 2 coats in each, the breadcrumbs and the egg mix, and then freeze in between each coating just to build up that outer layer. Once the that process has been complete, into the hot oil our first ice cream ball went, and as I hoped, the Panko fried up and browned a lot quicker than the puff pastry did. I gave this one no longer than like 20 to 25 seconds in the oil max. I popped it out, I tried to cut it in half, and this is what I'm looking for. The ice cream's still intact, it's got a nice brown outer coating on the outside. This is the first one we can give a try, so let's do it. So the clip that you guys just saw was a couple hours ago. To preserve them, I had to throw them back in the freezer for a little bit, so it's not going to be warm and crunchy on the outside, but it still should taste the same, I think. Appearance though, definitely looking good, the same as Tasty's, I'd say, so. So that looks good, if it even focuses. Oh look, I'm like a beauty guru. There we go. So it looks good. That's exactly how you want a fried ice cream to look. It's still fully intact in the middle, only a little bit of drippage on the bottom. But just like they say in the video, I kind of have to agree with them. Panko is a very distinct flavor that kind of reminds me of like a fried chicken cutlet or a fish or something, I don't know. So it's kind of messing with my brain a little bit. I don't hate them though, they're not bad. Definitely some room for improvement, so I will give these a 6 out of 10. For our third and final recipe today, the one I'm most excited for and the one they ended up doing the final video for, this tempura battered pound cake surrounded fried ice cream. And for this we're gonna need a couple more ingredients than the last two. I started with some flour, of course a store-bought pound cake because I'm already 2 recipes in and too lazy to make my own, some ice cold water, and a couple eggs. For step number 1, I popped the pound cake out of its wrapper and started to slice it at a diagonal, only because I think this is going to be a little bit easier to wrap up the ice cream in, we will see. On my counter I threw down a piece of plastic wrap, 2 slices of that pound cake, and tried to roll it out with a rolling pin. As you could probably imagine, it got a little sticky and the pound cake started to break apart, but for the most part we're okay so far. In the center of your pound cake goes one of your frozen vanilla ice cream balls, and then slowly try to wrap up the plastic around it. Into the freezer I threw those overnight for one last time, and then the next day I whipped them out of the plastic. I made up my tempura batter with a cup of sifted flour, 1 egg, and then enough of that cold water until it becomes this runny, less viscous pancake batter. Almost as runny as Logan Paul when he sees VidCon security. And then just dunk your frozen pound cake ice cream balls into your batter and into that hot oil for the last time. I gave them around 30 seconds, about 15 seconds on each side I think, and the ice cream didn't come out, which I was shocked by, and it's looking pretty decent. So for one last time, let's give these a try. Now if you guessed that the ratio of pound cake to ice cream was gonna be slightly off, you would be correct. When I pinched the plastic on the top, the pound cake kinda like all grouped up on the top and then pushed the ice cream down to the bottom. But it all stayed intact, it's looking good. Again, I had to throw this in the freezer just for like an hour or 2 so it wouldn't melt on me. But, okay. I am a fan of this one. Isn't pound cake one of the most unhealthy desserts as it is? Let's just throw some ice cream on it and then put it in a deep fryer. I would recommend, just like we did for the second recipe, throwing some vanilla in the tempura batter just so it's a little less floury. I'm getting hints of that once in a while. Besides that though, the ice cream stayed intact, it tastes great, it's better than the last one, so I'm gonna give this like an 8 out of 10. Good job, Buzzfeed, this was a good video. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's Buzzfeed test. If you did, leave me a like right under the video. Once again, send me some stuff for my mail vlog, the P.O. Box. I'll leave it in the description too for those of you on mobile and wherever else. But other than that, I will probably see you on Sunday, definitely. Latest Sunday, I'll have another video for you, I promise this time. Peace!